Okay, in this video, we're going to be reviewing these boat fenders. And let's go ahead and we'll open the box up and see what we have in here. Now, be careful if you're using a cutter, sharp knife like this. You don't want to cut the product. I'm actually not cutting down into the box. I'm just cutting along this tape right here. So I don't want to get in there and risk tearing into the product, which it's, these things are inflatable. So I want to be careful. All right, so there's the boat fenders. And like I said, these things are flat because they are inflatable. Should be 4 of them in there. And there you go. And they also come with ropes. And you also have a pump to pump them up with. That's pretty nice to include that in there. And then also you have a kind of a instruction manual here. And that's all that's in the box. So let's go ahead and kind of set everything out here where we can see it. Now these things, just right off the bat, I can tell you right now, they're pretty thick. They're not a real thin, flimsy sort of plastic. Now, a lot of boat fenders are not inflatable like this. Most of them are just solid one-piece deals. So there again, I don't know if this is a good thing or necessarily not, but anyway, they'll definitely take up less room in your boat if you have them stored in there. And more than likely, once you air these things up, they'll be okay as far as holding air. And then again, you do have this little pump deal here if you need to air them up to deploy them when you have your boat pulled up to a dock or something. And let's go ahead and we'll look at these ropes. So you get 1 rope per fender, and basically you just attach the rope to this end of the fender here, and then depending, you can attach it different ways. You can put it through here like this and run your rope through there, that eyelet, and then tie these off to your cleat on your boat or somewhere to the side of your boat. You can do them like that, or you can, there's any different ways you could do these things as far as tying them off. But here's where you air them up. There's a little hole right here. And the way this thing works, the way the pump works, you'll notice here, let's get it out. There's a couple of needles included in here for you to insert into the pump. When I say a couple, there's actually 4 needles in there, that's a good thing. What you'll basically do is you'll take and put this needle. Once you have your needle installed into your pump, you just take and stick the needle into this little hole right here. I would lubricate it, maybe, just put a little drop of saliva on it or something. I wouldn't use any sort of petroleum. Okay. Make sure when you stick this in there, you might want to stick it more of an angle, because you need to make certain that the needle is fully inserted so the hole is not blocked, because it's not that hard to pump. At first it was, but I didn't have the needle inserted all the way. And let's see how much it's going to take to get this thing aired up with this pump. It's not bad. I mean, obviously, if you used a power inflator, battery operated inflator, something along those lines, it'd be a little bit better. But I want to test this pump out and just see how practical it is. And it's not taking that long to actually air the fender up, so that's not bad. That's pretty sturdy right there. Now you can put more air into it. Get a little bit tighter if you want to. I wouldn't suggest getting it real tight. You want a little bit of flexibility in here, a little bit of cushioning effect. So you don't want it real hard, but you also don't want it where it will flatten out if your boat, you know, were to hit the dock or something like that. So that's it's pretty nice, pretty impressive. It's a big float, or not float, but a fender. Once you get it inflated, it's pretty impressive. These holes here, they're a bit reinforced. I mean, they're not, there's nothing, it's just made out of plastic, but it's thick plastic right in there. So that's a good deal. They're reinforced a bit. And like I said, you can definitely save space with these things if they're not inflated. And basically, to deflate it, just take one of your needles that's not attached to your pump and just stick it in there, and it'll inflate by itself. So really easy to do that deal there. So yeah, let's go ahead. And you can see it's starting to deflate. Now, once it gets to a certain point, this plastic being as hard as it is, it won't deflate on its own. You'll need to, you know, squeeze it down or whatever to be able to get all the air out of there back to where it was. And that won't take that long. You can fold it over like this. Anything that you can do just to put a little bit of pressure on it to get the air out will work. I'm not going to deflate it all the way. I just want to kind of see how long it's going to take to get it down to a point where it was. Now, if you have a kayak or paddleboard inflator, deflator, you could actually deflate this thing with a deflator. And what it would do when you hook this needle up to it, it'll actually pull the air out of it, so you don't have to worry about folding it and deflating it and all that. But I tell you, overall, this is a really nice set of boat fenders here. You know, like I said, they're thick plastic. I think they'll hold up pretty well, and definitely protect your boat when you have it up against a dock, or if you're up against another boat. For example, if you guys are hanging out, you know, a lot of times boats, they'll all get together in one big group, and you can put a couple of these on each side of your boat and protect the sides of your boat. You know, pontoon boat, anything along those lines, these things will work on just about any boat. So, of course, they'll be more probably appropriate for smaller boats. Big, large boats, these things may not reach or protect the boat that well, because they might not be long enough or large enough. But you can, you know, hang them from the rope down to where they need to be, whatever the case may be. So they'll work for just about any boat, but probably more appropriate for smaller boats. And like I said, you get plenty of needles. You have a rope for each one. We'll get these things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to air these things up. I have a pontoon boat. I'm just going to hook one of them up, or a couple of them up, to show you how they work on the side of the boat, you know, hanging and such like that. So I probably won't have it in the water because it's still a bit cool right now to put the boat in the water. But anyway, you know, mainly just kind of show you how they fit on the side of the boat. Thing I failed to mention about these needles is these are just a standard needle, same needle that you could use to air up a football or soccer ball, basketball, something along those lines. So there's nothing special about this needle. It has the same threads and basically the same design here. So if you don't have, if you lose these or whatever the case may be, can't find one, you can just use a regular inflation needle, and that pump, it'll work just fine. Okay, so I wanted to show you the boat fenders hanging off the boat here. Of course, you can do these ever how you want to. Typically, you're going to want to mount to wherever this, the largest part of your boat sticking out is protected, which would be the first thing that's going to touch the dock. And I have these mounted just on the pontoon right here. This part right here, this rail, is normally where it'll rub up against the dock or another boat, because the pontoons themselves are kind of recessed in there a little bit. So this would be the main thing that sticks out. So I know you know how to mount these things, and you can mount them in any scenario you need to. But I just kind of wanted to show you how they work, and and how, well they hold up as far as the protection they give your boat.